Human gets alien queen's clone pregnant, now the real queen wants a turn. Commander Jason Wood stood at rigid attention in the gleaming reception hall of the Crimson Palace headquarters of the Tan Dominion on Earth. The mirrored walls reflected, his muscular frame bare torso glistening with a light sheen of sweat from the mandatory physical assessment. He just completed black trousers, hugging his hips secured by a polished black belt. He ran a hand through his slick-back light blonde hair, feeling the light stubble on his jaw. Commander Wood, the Tan official, addressed him, her bright red skin contrasting with her ornate silver uniform. Your military record is exceptional. 3 tours in the Orion conflict decorated twice for valor, and your psychological profile indicates unwavering loyalty. Jason maintained his stoic expression. I serve where I'm needed, ma'am, indeed, and now you're needed in a rather unique capacity. She slid a data tablet across the obsidian table. You've been selected as personal bodyguard to Queen Nisara of the Tan Dominion during her extended diplomatic mission on Earth. Jason's eyebrows rose slightly. The Tan Queen, ruler of a star empire spanning 17 systems coming to Earth. The implications were enormous. I'm honored, but the position is non-negotiable, Commander. The official cut him off. The human-Tan alliance is still fragile. Having a human protector sends a powerful message of trust. Jason scanned the tablet. The assignment details were sparse, but the compensation was astronomical. After his dishonorable discharge from Earth Defense Force, a political move after he'd exposed corruption in the upper ranks, this opportunity seemed too good to be true. When do I begin? Immediately. The Queen's transport arrives tomorrow. You'll be briefed on protocol tonight. The official stood. One more thing, Commander. You won't always be guarding Queen Nisara herself. Jason frowned. I don't understand. The Queen employs a biosynthetic duplicate, for less critical functions, a clone if you will, though we prefer the term royal proxy, physically identical in every way, but without the burden of royal authority. You'll often be assigned to the proxy for routine matters, a body. D. Jason said flatly, far more sophisticated than that. The proxy possesses the Queen's memories and mannerisms, but has her own distinct consciousness. She handles the Queen's more tedious obligations. Jason nodded. Slowly. Understood. Excellent. Your quarters are prepared. I suggest you rest. Tomorrow will be demanding the following morning. Jason stood on the landing pad atop the Crimson Palace, dressed in his new formal uniform, a tailored black suit with subtle crimson accents that marked him as royal security. The sleek Toyan vessel descended through the clouds, its silver hull catching the morning sunlight. When the boarding ramp extended, Jason straightened his posture. First came a contingent of Tan guards, their red skin and silver armor creating a living cooter. Then she appeared. Queen Nisha stood tall and wriggled, her bright red skin luminous against her elaborate silver and black bodysuit, adorned with gold emblems of office. Her long, silvery hair cascaded down her back, and her striking blue eyes surveyed the reception party with cool assessment. Even from a distance, Jason could feel the weight of authority she carried. The Queen barely acknowledged the assembled dignitaries before disappearing into the palace with her entourage leaving. Jason standing awkwardly on the platform. Commander Wood. He turned to find another Tan woman approaching for a moment. He thought the Queen had returned, but subtle differences became apparent, though physically identical. The same bright red skin, silvery hair and blue eyes. This woman wore a simpler version of the royal attire. Her expression was warmer, more approachable. I'm Liaison, she said, extending a slender hand in the human custom of greeting the Queen's proxy. I understand you'll be my primary security detail. Jason took her hand, noting the strength in her grip. Commander Jason Wood at your service. Lara smiled, revealing perfect white teeth against her crimson skin. The Queen is resting after the journey. She has a private meeting with your world leaders tomorrow. Today, however, I'm scheduled to tour your city's cultural district as a goodwill gesture. I hope you don't mind starting work immediately. There was something in her tone, a hint of resignation perhaps, that caught Jason's attention. This wasn't just a clone following orders. This was a person with her own thoughts and feelings. Not at all, he replied, offering his arm in a formal escort position. It would be my pleasure to show you Earth's finest cultural achievements. Lara's eyes widened slightly at the gesture before she placed her hand on his arm. How gallant. The briefing said humans were an interesting species, but they didn't mention charming as they walked toward the waiting transport. Jason felt the eyes of the tan officials on them. He'd been briefed on maintaining professional distance, but something about Lear's almost imperceptible sigh of relief at being treated as a person rather than an object made him want to show her more than just Earth's museum's just doing my job, he said with a small smile. Though I suspect guarding you will be far more pleasant than my previous assignments. Lara laughed, a melodic sound that seemed to surprise even her commander. I think this arrangement might work out. After all, the National Gallery's grand atrium soared above them. Sunlight streaming through glass panels to illuminates centuries of humanity's artistic achievements. Jason watched Lavara as she moved from exhibit to exhibit, her reactions far more captivating than the masterpieces surrounding them. This one, Lavaro paused before a large canvas depicting revolutionaries breaking their chains. There's something about it that resonates deeply. Jason stepped closer, maintaining a professional distance while still speaking privately. It's called Liberation, painted after the Third World Unity movement. Elle's blue eyes studied the painting intently. The expressions so raw, so genuine, the triumph mixed with uncertainty. She turned to Jason. Is that how freedom feels, exhilarating yet terrifying? The question caught him off guard. I suppose it is. Freedom means making your own choices but also facing the consequences. Choices, she repeated softly, almost wistfully. What a luxury. Jason glanced around, ensuring they weren't overheard. The gallery had been cleared for their visit with only distant security personnel at the entrances. If you don't mind me asking, how much choice do you have in your position? Elle's posture shifted subtly, her shoulders squaring as if bracing herself. I exist to serve the Queen. My purpose is defined by her needs. That's your function. Jason noted, not who you are. A flicker of surprise crossed her crimson features. Commander Wood. Jason, please, when it's just us. Her lips curved into a small smile. Jason, then you're rather perceptive for a human bodyguard, and you're rather philosophical for a royal stand-in. Lee laughed, the sound echoing through the empty gallery. Touché. She moved to the next exhibit, a sculpture of intertwined figures. The Tan Dominion values efficiency. The Queen can't be everywhere, so I fulfill obligations deemed necessary, but not worthy of her personal attention, like appreciating alien art precisely. Lavar ran her fingers just above the sculpture's surface, not quite touching. Though I find I rather enjoy these tedious assignments. Jason watched her graceful movements, struck by the contradiction she embodied, physically identical to the imperious Queen he'd glimpsed earlier, yet entirely different in spirit. You appreciate beauty? I do. Her gaze met his, lingering a moment longer than protocol suggested in all its forms. Heat crept up Jason's neck. Was she flirting with him? The thought was simultaneously thrilling and alarming. The human form has inspired artists for millennia, he said, gesturing to a nearby classical sculpture. Indeed, your species has a fascinating physiology. Ul's eyes traveled over him with scientific interest that didn't quite mask something more personal, strong yet vulnerable, resilient yet soft. We manage, Jason replied, suddenly very aware of his body. Tans are quite remarkable yourselves, are we? Elle stepped closer, her voice dropping. Or is it just our novelty that intrigues you? The question hung between them, charged with unspoken implications. Jason found himself drawn to her not as the Queen's copy, but as the woman before him, with curiosity burning in her eyes. I find intelligence and authenticity intriguing, he answered honestly. Novelty fades character. Doesn't something vulnerable flashed across Oliva's face, even when that character was engineered rather than born? Especially? Then Jason risked a step closer. It means you've defined yourself, despite your circumstances, not because of them. Lava's breath caught audibly for a moment. The royal proxy van, leaving just a woman struggling with unexpected emotions. No one has ever seen me that way before. The air between them seemed to vibrate with possibility. Jason was acutely conscious of crossing a line, but couldn't bring himself to step back. Then they weren't really looking. Lear's hand rose, hesitating just short of touching his chest. This is unwise, probably, Jason agreed, making no move to increase the distance between them. I'm not her, Lavara. whispered a confession and a warning. I know exactly who you are. Jason replied, his voice low and certain. The museum's ambient lighting shifted, bathing them in a golden glow as the afternoon sun hit the western windows. It illuminated the silver threads in Lever's bodysuit, the blue depths of her eyes, the vulnerable curve of her lips. Jason knew protocol demanded he maintained professional distance. His training screamed at him to step back to remember his duty, but something more fundamental, more human, kept him rooted to the spot, drawn to the connection forming between them. Lara finally broke the moment, turning back to the artwork with visible effort. Tell me about